It's Mental Health Monday with Hope, a sanctuary where hearts can find solace. Together, we stand strong, united in our journey, discovering the strength within ourselves. Have no fear, for we're not alone.
Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to Mental Health Mondays with Hope. I am Hope. Oh my gosh, is this a gorgeous day in Northeast PA or what? Wow, this weather is tremendous. Humidity under 50%. It's absolutely gorgeous. So tonight we are actually continuing with our goal setting series with our very first goal setting guest, who's Miss Mary. So Miss Mary's going to join us tonight. We're going to talk about where she is with some of her goals. Welcome, Mary. Yay! Round of applause.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me, Hope and host.
You're welcome. You are absolutely welcome. So for the people that didn't see our first time together, that was probably back in like January, February. So that's when we decided, well, I had decided for 2026 that once a month I would dedicate a show to goal setting and how to, to attain our goals, how to stay on track for our goals. But could you just give an update, like from then, like explain who you are to everybody? Tell us about Mary.
Hi,
Like from,
everybody.
kind of like the intros that you gave, last time, so they have some background.
I am a recovering alcoholic. It has been my life's journey. I've been trying to get and stay sober for 25 years. I had 5 years the first time. I had 8 years the second time. And this time I'm coming up on my first year again.
Congratulations. I think that's a good segue because, I start the show with a positive affirmation from my guests and a sentence about yourself or, a word about yourself that starts with I am. What is Mary? I am what?
Well,
be nice. It's a positive affirmation.
Well, along this journey of this past year, I decided I needed a positive affirmation that wasn't too therapy sounding.
Okay.
So my Post-it note on my mirror in my bedroom is no shit, you are doing it.
Oh, that's great. I love it. I love it. That is wonderful. So I know we touched, on your addiction and thank you, for sharing that with us and congratulations coming up on a year. I know when you were here with us in the beginning of the year, you talked a little bit about, the struggles that you've had with mental health over the years.
Oh, look at that. It's on the bottom of the screen. No shit, you are doing it.
Kendall likes to, Kendall accommodates. It's a great mantra. So share some of your mental health struggles through the years and, how that either like exacerbated your addiction issues or potentially, had something to do with the cause. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I am bipolar. So I had a sponsor who was also a therapist. She is a private therapist who happened to be a sponsor through AA at the time. And one of the coolest things about that woman is she walked in and said many times, even though at my job I am a therapist, I come in here in these rooms, I'm just another bozo on the bus. All I have to share is my experience, strength, and hope. This is not coming from a professional space, so don't take it that way.
Right. And that's great because, it's difficult sometimes to either, make that separation, or it's difficult, as someone also in the mental health field. Sometimes, people may think that you're constantly evaluating them or
Mhm.
diagnosing them. And that's not the case. I think, a lot of people who get into these roles already have that kindness within them, that desire to help people or listen to people. So that was great that she said it that way, but she understood your mental health diagnosis, I'm assuming, right?
Right. And I've worked in recovery as well, which helps. Um, because again, I have to say, all I'm giving you is my experience, strength, and hope. That's all I have to offer.
Well,
My
I need you to rephrase that. You just said that's all I have to offer, like making it sound small. Um, that
as
words
long as
matter.
I share my story honestly, it's a powerful thing.
Yes, it is. So don't say that's all I have to share, because you're right. It is very powerful. Words matter. And sometimes, we're so used to using, certain phrases or certain words that we take away our own power and our own validity by using words that make us smaller. And certainly, you are not small. Your experiences aren't small, and what you have to offer people is not small.
Thank you, Hope. That's
You're
amazing. And
welcome.
I do need that reminder. Um, I think being in the professional field and then going into the rooms with people who are clients, one of the things that I always felt like I had to be on. And
I get that.
I don't go to the rooms to be on. I go to the rooms to be off and honest and vulnerable and real.
Right. And that's great, because that's not easy for everyone.
Right. Right. Um, in fact, well, uh, I have moved into a new situation. My living situation is very different. Last time we spoke, I was living in a sober house.
Right?
Um, I now have a roommate who is paralyzed on the right side.
Okay.
Her name is Sis, and I am her primary evening and overnight caregiver.
Okay. 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 So let's step back a little bit. So when we talked initially, you were living in a sober house. You had just moved to that sober house because you were kind of in a rehab situation, correct?
It was rehab, then halfway, then
Halfway,
sober.
right. Then sober
Right.
house. So when we talked back then, one of your goals was to get your own place, to be in, and not just financially and what have you, but to be in a mindset, a mental state of mind that's something that you would be able to achieve and maintain.
Right. And in this situation, my rent is it's minuscule because of what I'm doing. So
That's great.
it is achievable, it is attainable. I I am barely scraping by financially, but that's a different situation. That's my own lack of discipline on a lot of
Okay.
things.
No, that's honesty. That's
And
honesty.
I had a situation where when I lived up in Carbondale, I started at the grocery store I work at, which I'm not going to plug them. I don't want to do a
That's
shameless
fine.
plug. I started up there and I transferred back here when I moved back to the Poconos. But that pay card got lost and my address isn't updated. So the pay card company, and I'm not going to plug them either because I'm not going to use them again after this situation.
Right.
Um, they said that I can't do a change of address and report a card lost or stolen at the same time. It's considered a red flag.
Oh
And then
boy.
the company that I work for doesn't have my address changed either. And that is also considered a red flag. So it takes 5 business days for them to change my address in their system. And then it's going to take another 7 to 10 business days to get my pay card.
Oh boy.
So this is my higher power doing for me what I cannot do for myself, because this is how I'm saving money, because I don't have access to any of it.
Right. That's great. Well, that's good. And that was one of the things that was one of your goals back then was, to get on your feet financially.
Mhm.
So it sounds like, you have this job working at the grocery store and refresh me. Is that full time?
No, it's part-time.
No. Okay. And then you also have this job as a caregiver.
Right. Correct.
So I'm looking at it as you went into rehab, you went to a halfway house, you went to a sober house, and I remember conversations with you during that time, how you weren't able to see the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes.
That's very true. So I am
Right.
making forward progress. No shit, I am doing it.
There you go. I love that. I love it. I think it's great. Should get shirts made. No shit, I am doing it.
Yes.
Now, I know you said that some of your goals have changed, but before we get into that, um, tell me, like, this, this pay situation sounds like a setback, but you flipped it around and made it into a positive, which is great because, a lot of people see failure as inability, but failure is it should be a learning lesson. So you're not seeing this as a failure. Oh, I'm failing to get, my money. You're seeing this as, hey, great. This is going to help me save money because, then when I get it, I've saved money. So along the way in the last 5-6 months or so since we chatted, have there been setbacks in the goals that you had set for yourself? And if so, besides this one of putting this positive spin on it, how did you deal with those?
Well, I mean, I'll give you my diagnoses and then I'll answer that question. Is
Okay.
that fair?
Sure, absolutely.
So I have complex PTSD. I have bipolar, and I'm a little neurospicy.
Neurospicy. I like that. So explain that.
So I have taken the tests to see if I'm on the spectrum. One of them is extensive. It took me an hour to fill out that questionnaire.
Wow.
So I am on the spectrum. I just haven't taken the document to a physician for them to actually give me that diagnosis.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, but it doesn't change the fact that I am who I am. Knowing that I'm neurospicy now gives me a little more empowerment. I've said to people, I'm not stupid, I'm just dense.
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. Like my granddaughter will say, like she's trying to say something and it's not coming out, and she's neurospicy, and she'll say words are hard. So I understand what you're saying.
Because sometimes if somebody's giving me clear-cut directions, sometimes it's not computing with me, and I need to repeat it in my own words once or twice to make sure I really got it.
Right. So that's a coping strategy that you came up with on your own prior to, having an understanding of why it was happening.
Right.
Right?
Right. Correct.
So now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
So now that you have that understanding, does it feel like there's some sort of weight lifted off you?
Absolutely. 100%.
And why is that?
Because I couldn't understand why I couldn't understand.
Right. So you were always questioning yourself.
Correct.
Okay. It's interesting. Literally an hour and a half before tonight's podcast, my daughter and I were having a very similar conversation. She had an appointment and they had a student there, and the student was on the spectrum, and my daughter had pointed that out to me, and we were having a conversation about it in the car. And the conversation was, what is normal? Like, what is normal? And who created those standards? Because we're learning so much more these days about, and especially like women, as we get a little older, as we get a little wiser, a little more seasoned, we're like, oh, wow, I've been doing that forever, and I'm on the spectrum. Now it makes sense. So it goes back to that, like, what is normal and who came up with those guidelines? And in a sense, like, why does it matter? Why are we dividing people? So it was a really good conversation, about that. And I think, recognizing when we have these, this neurodivergent brain, I guess, if you want to call it that way, I can understand how you would feel like that weight was lifted, because you're like, oh, now I understand why I was doing this. And now that I have a name for it, because sometimes names do matter, because, when you have a better understanding of something, then you know how to move forward with it.
100% correct. I encountered a friend who didn't like all the labels, but when I called it neurodivergent, she sparkled. She even told her daughter about it. So apparently that term opened her up in ways that
Right.
she was unable to be open before.
Right.
At least
Right.
with me.
Sure. I like neurospicy. I think that's awesome.
I love neurospicy. I prefer neurospicy because my mom used to say normal is just the setting on the dryer, honey.
Oh, there we go. I like that. I like that, because we're put in these different classifications, and nobody fits, completely into a box,
Right.
and that's what makes us who we are, and sometimes powers that be want us all to, fit into the same mold and fit into the same box. But, that's not what makes us great and interesting and different, and how we learn from each other. And how we move forward, having that understanding. It's interesting. I'm actually excited for you. That you have that What's that?
I can feel that.
Oh.
You have penetrated and permeated that onto me. I can feel your excitement.
Oh, I would never make a good poker player because I'm just not good at holding back. But I just personally, I feel like when you have a better understanding of yourself, especially if it's something that you didn't create, that's just part of who you are. And then it's like that light bulb goes on. And I feel that when that happens with anyone, that opens the floodgates. Like there's, if that light at the end of the tunnel at any point, was like a pinpoint of light, now it looks like a spotlight, because now you have a better understanding of what could potentially, cause obstacles.
Yes. And it has been my neurospiciness has been an obstacle. And that really good friend of mine, the one who is a therapist, she moved away so she could no longer be my sponsor, but she used to tell me that I would self-medicate because I was doing
With
booze.
alcohol.
Yes.
Okay.
Booze and stimulants. So because I'm bipolar, the booze and the stimulants
Oh, right.
would I was self-medicating before I even knew that I was doing it.
Sure. Sure. And that makes sense. And that absolutely makes sense. She's a smart lady. And yeah, and I feel, that's something that I've always felt strongly about. I mean, there are people that use drugs and use alcohol recreationally, but there are also people that use it to self-medicate, whether, it's because they haven't recognized what they're medicating yet, or I have a very good friend that self-medicated for a long time until unfortunately they did for him, they did a random drug screening at his job and lost his job. And this is a person who, through like a good portion of the time that I knew him, couldn't really keep a job because of all of his diagnoses. And, self-medication was the one thing that kind of kept him focused. And he had tried traditional, medications, psychiatrist appointments, and, constantly readjusting. And that's why he went to self-medicating. But then when he lost his job, he had to go back the old fashioned way, to seeing a psychiatrist and getting his medications and everything straightened out. And, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle to do that because as I'm sure you're aware, since you've worked, in the field, is that taking medications for any diagnoses isn't just a one time, it's not a miracle pill. You're going to take, one medication for anxiety or depression and it's going to work forever. That's not how it works. And, sometimes people have just like the inability for those medications to work, or sometimes they just stop working after a while, or you haven't found the right medication. Because when we look at like serotonin in the brain, there are so many different, it's not like, okay, you have this serotonin thing going on and, and to fix it, we have to do this, it's different. It's like, what is the amount that's, going back into the cells, and what is the amount that we need to kind of straighten out? And it's a constant. I feel that. Let me ask you this. I'm sorry. Do you remind yourself on a fairly regular basis, if you don't mind sharing, that you are an alcoholic?
I try to get to meetings and hear myself say it out loud when I introduce myself.
Okay. Okay.
But every time,
I mean, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Every time I say the Serenity Prayer, I don't go, I'm an alcoholic.
Right. But
because I already know that.
Right. Right. And maybe I worded it wrong. I should have said, do you recognize on a fairly regular basis? Because some people, I feel, that have an addiction, no matter what that addiction is, when they're in a good place, they kind of forget that they have that, even if it's not active, that they still have that. And that's why, sometimes people relapse, because they kind of, oh yeah, it's not a big deal anymore. Look at me. I've been clean for how long now? And then they can, potentially relapse because they forget to take it serious, that this is part of who they are.
Well, that's
and I feel
so funny that you should say that, because while you were talking about medications, it reminded me that in many times in my life, because I didn't want to be on meds at all, many times in my life, I would stop taking my meds because I felt better.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And with CPTSD and bipolar and whatever else they may want to slap on me, whatever. This is a lifelong, my brain chemicals don't work like other people's brain chemicals.
Absolutely.
I have to be on medication in order to function.
Right. And I understand that because, there are some situations that are temporary when it comes to some conditions, and then that can be corrected with medication. And then, someone can potentially go off those medications, but there are certain conditions that need that induced chemical to make our brain chemicals do what they're supposed to be doing on their own.
And as far as my alcoholism, I like to think of it as I'm in remission from alcoholism. There is no cure for my alcoholic condition. What I have is a daily reprieve based on my spiritual condition.
That's great. That is great. I love that.
It's right out of the big book.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. But if you're living it and not just reciting it, if you're living it, that's important. I mean, that is important. My one of my sisters is an addict, and I like that remission. I like that. And she tells herself every morning, I'm an addict, and today I choose not to use. So she makes that conscious decision every day, and she's clean. Oh, she's gonna be mad at me. 3 years now after, quite a few years of methamphetamine usage. And it's something that she's very proud of. And it's something that, my whole family's very proud of. It was a long road, and it still remains, a long road. And there are times when she is acting differently that, I know that I get nervous, but I ask her flat out, and, and she's, because I ask it in a way that's not accusing her of anything. And I'm the big sis, that we have those conversations. And that's something that I wanted to talk about if we could. How have you, because, you said that this, is something that you have been dealing with for 25 years, and now you have 1 year, coming up. Have you had any, how have people perceived that? Like, are there people in your life who are like, yeah, she's probably going to use again, or, I don't trust her to be alone in my house when I'm not here, because I don't know what she'll do. How has that been? Because I know that's very frustrating for my sister.
You already know the answer to that. There is one person in my life who, while I trust and believe that it comes from a loving place of care and concern, you had to put me up because they did not trust me in their home while they were on vacation.
Right. But how does that make you feel? I know that's a therapist question, but seriously, how does that make you feel?
Can I say honestly how it makes me feel?
I try not to use the F word on air, but yeah, please.
Okay, so I won't say the words, but this is how it makes me feel.
How did I know that your brain was going there? But no, I mean, now when you just did that, we call that the Monroe County salute. Does that mean that it just made you angry, or, frustrated, or did you question yourself, or you just, thought this person was a big fat hairy jerk? No.
It makes me frustrated, but it reminds me too that even when I'll have a year on June 20th, even when I can get and stay clean and sober for a little while, nobody is waiting to throw me a frickin' parade. I have to listen. Misery may love company, but so does joy, and joy throws better parties.
There we go. There we go. It's interesting because your whole demeanor is different than it was when we first spoke, when you first came on and we talked about goal setting. Your whole demeanor has changed. You sound much more confident than you did those couple months ago.
Can I introduce you guys to my roommate?
Sure.
Okay.
As long as your roommate doesn't mind, it's going out to gazillions and millions and trillions of people.
I'm just going to check and make sure she has her teeth in. 1 second.
Oh, wait, is my mom there? Sorry, I'm throwing mom under the bus. So we're talking to our friend Mary tonight while she's getting her friend to come on camera with us. I just wanted to remind everyone, please subscribe to the PA Empowerment Network. We are just a little over a year old here, and we have some great programs that are on the network. We have a great website that has wonderful information on there. And you know what? Let's get like at least what's our numbers at right now, Kendall? Eight something. All right. So 830 something. So Kendall's birthday is on Wednesday. So let's get that 100 plus whatever new subscribers that we need to hit 1,000 before Kendall's birthday on Wednesday. That would be the best birthday present that we can give him. It's super, super simple. You're watching this on YouTube right now. Just go ahead and click the subscribe button. It is free, and you'll be part of our PA Empowerment Network family. So are we back, Miss Mary?
I am back, but sis is sleeping.
Oh, well, good for her.
She said,
good
what? She heard me say her name.
Aw.
What?
Well.
This woman is a powerhouse. This home is a safe and peaceful place. But I'll tell you what, she had a stroke in her 20s.
Oh.
She has been bedbound since her 20s.
Wow.
And she has this motorized chair, she has a specialized van, and she requires not around the clock care. She has caregivers that come in the morning and visiting nurses that come in 2 or 3 times a week. And then I, handle things when I get home from work. But this woman is so full of joy. Her spirit, she is kind and she is caring and she is grateful for every little thing you do for her.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That sounds awesome.
I think that's the difference, right? When I'm sitting in my own poopy,
wallowing.
Yeah. And I forget to be grateful. And I come home to this woman. I mean, it is impossible for me not to be grateful for everything.
Right. Aw. So one of the things that we talked about the last time we were together was, I have this plaque that says your vibe attracts your tribe. And part of our goal setting session was to think of people in your tribe and where do they fit when it comes to your goals and the life that you want to achieve. Where do they fit? And it sounds like this gal sis has really upped the tribe game for you as to how someone can be through very difficult situations and still be grateful, versus people who wallow in it constantly, or it's always somebody else's fault. Has, besides adding sis to your tribe, is that something that you've consciously done since, our goal setting is try to have people around you that are more the vibe that you have or the vibe that you want to achieve? What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure. I love that you mentioned this because I got to give a shout out to my work bestie. She's the one who keeps messaging and I can't read it all, but
Oh, I
Laura
work
is
bestie.
here. Hi, work bestie. Jazz
So
hands.
jazz hands. So even if she's not watching right now, when she watches the replay, she'll hear that we gave her a shout out.
I love you, Laura.
So tell me about your work bestie.
Oh, she's supportive and she's kind. It's funny because we have too much in common.
Okay.
Our
That can
favorite
be
color,
scary sometimes.
our favorite color is orange. We're both from Northwest New Jersey. And the cool thing that we have in common is when we are at work, we're on. I'm on the clock, so I'm on. And
Right.
I go above and beyond to make sure that the people around me not only can feel the love and light that I believe is true inside of me, namaste, but I also want to make sure that if they're in a big hurry or they're frustrated or they're whatever, I also try to give them a sense of calm. And Laura goes above and beyond to share that namaste vibe and make sure that people know that she's got the job handled so they don't have to sweat it because she's on it. She's got that confidence. And that's something fake it till you make it kind of thing. There are days where I'm faking that confidence, but I'm doing it anyway.
Right. Right.
And Sis
Have
is
you
awake. She's talking.
What's that? Oh, she's awake.
Sis is awake. She's talking.
Have you felt that in the last few months you've had any setbacks in your goals?
There have been times I've been tempted. That
Now, when you say tempted,
I've been tempted because there's nothing like for me, there's nothing like the warm, fuzzy bear hug buzz that I get from a glass of wine.
okay.
Wine is always the beginning of the end for me. Once I start drinking wine, it means that I'm going to eventually start drinking Jack Daniels. And then I start drinking Jack Daniels and I'm out of the bar and somebody says, "Hey, and I'm like, let's go. You got what?"
Right.
They don't even finish the sentence once I'm
Right.
drinking Jack Daniels.
Right. Right. So maybe not the buzz aspect of it, but what are some alternatives that can give you that warm, fuzzy bear hug sort of feeling?
Getting out in nature, the fact
Okay.
that the sun is shining, you're right, it is a beautiful day today. It feels more like fall
Absolutely.
than summer, and I'm not crying about it.
Nope. Nope.
Because there is zero humidity, there's a nice breeze, and it's 70 degrees or so.
Right.
Like, yes, yes, baby, yes, baby, yes.
So going out in nature is your high.
I do grounding, earthing.
Okay.
So for anybody who's not familiar with grounding and earthing, it's the best thing to do with it is to cover as much of your body as you can in the earth. But barefoot,
Yep.
I walk barefoot as much as possible. I'm still trying to get my summer feet back on. But earthing is very important. It scientifically proven to change the neurons and help balance the neurons and electrons within ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. The overflow of electricity is released through our feet and absorbed into the earth. And yeah, it's tremendous. I absolutely 100% believe it, love it, do it. And I always have my summer feet. Sorry. So that's great. So if you're having a rough day, remember one of the things that we talked about in goal setting was, I mean, it was in a follow up when I had a gal on here that was talking about like ways to stick to your goals. Was, let's say your goal is to walk every day, and then it's raining one day, like pouring cats and dogs, and you don't want to walk in that. So then if you didn't have a backup plan, then you're kind of like, oh, well, I'll just do it tomorrow. And then, maybe it's raining again tomorrow. Then you're like, oh, well, I'll get out the next day. And then soon that starts to fall away. It starts to fall off. Having a backup plan from the beginning is now it's like there's no choice. You don't have, you don't make a choice. It's okay. Well, the days that, I'm going to have this, exercise video, sorry, I'm old school, ready to go if it's raining. So if it's a good day, I'm going to go out and walk. B, if it's raining, I already know that I'm going to do my exercise tape. So let's say with you, it's, going out in nature is that the first go-to, or is that the backup plan? Like if things aren't going well, like what is your order? I am going to get out into nature because it recharges me, it settles me. And if I can't get out into nature, because I fall victim to it all the time. I can't run right now because of my back. So, I need to get that out. So, I started kayaking again because at least that I'm, mostly using my upper body. So going out into nature, is that part of if I am feeling this way, I go out into nature, 3 times a week, every day, or what have you? Like, have you put that on your calendar, like your personal calendar? I guess I'm trying to ask. We should all have that where we take time for ourselves.
Getting out in nature at least 3 times a week is probably the best thing. I have to get back into yoga for grounding and centering and balancing. I have to get back into my journaling because
Okay.
I fell off of journaling. And it's very important for me to do that. It helps me process a lot of things.
Absolutely. So when you were journaling in the past, did you have like a set schedule that you journaled, or it was like, you wrote, like if you're having a difficult time, a difficult decision to make, then you jotted it all down? Or if you were angry at someone, instead of saying it to them, you wrote it down first? Like what did that look like for you?
Well, journaling for me, I wrote at least 3 things I was grateful for every morning. I started my day in gratitude. And I started this app called Finch. I don't know if you're
Okay.
familiar with it. It's a
I am
self-help
not.
app. It's a
Okay.
self-help app to help remind me to do the most basic of chores, wash my face, get out of bed, change my clothes,
Okay.
take a shower, brush my teeth, drink water. And now that I've started doing it more, I'm gonna put journaling on there too. But I actually I have a journal entry that I was given this assignment by a therapist, and then I suddenly moved. I did I also have years and years and years of self-harm under my belt. I
Right.
started self-harming in the 3rd grade.
Hmm.
And a therapist told me to write a letter to my younger self. But due to the extensive years of trauma that I experienced, there are large chunks of my younger self that I can't remember the timelines.
Very, very common.
And I don't know if it would be welcome, but I would be willing to read that letter on air right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the Mary hour. It's whatever you're most comfortable with.
Okay. So I'll give you a little backstory. My mother's husband, well, the first time he was inappropriate with me, I was 5 years old.
I'm sorry.
And that went on until I was 12.
I'm sorry.
So, some days, most actually, I feel like the ocean. Some days there is a storm at sea and I'm crashing violently against the shore. These days I envision a Maine or Ireland shoreline with huge rock embankments. On the days that I feel calmer, I envision a beach where the waves are lollygagging to get to the shore. Going back in my memory to the first time with Mom's ex-husband, he put my hand on his penis. I was 5 years old. Trying to write a letter to that scared, confused, but curious kid is making my quote unquote waves crash, at least at a medium crashing. So the quote unquote funny thing is, I haven't even thought of picking back up over the crashing waves, picking back up over a drink or a drug. Part of the reason I don't like to be called Mary Ellen is because it reminds me of this kid too. Dear Mary Ellen Rose, age 5. It's okay that you felt curious and interested in his penis. It makes sense that you assumed it was okay with Mom since she was in the bed sleeping at the time. It is not okay that this happened to you. He was a grown man and knew better than to take advantage of the willingness and curiosity of a little kid. Do not feel ashamed of your curiosity. None of this has ever been your fault. Just because he rubbed your back in front of Mom does not mean she knew or condoned any of the other stuff. Dear Mary Ellen Rose, at age 9 or 10, I remember you on your knees crying and begging and yelling to quote unquote God, telling it that it had to be your father because the one Mom chose for you was not a good man. Well, I'm here to tell you what, kiddo, that God has not been the father you were expecting. However, no matter how many times you turn away from good, orderly direction, it's always been there, even when you turn your back on it.
Wow.
Dear Mary Ellen
okay?
Rose. Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
Dear Mary Ellen Rose, age 12. So he went in for an extended hospital stay and you are no longer clutching the knife under your pillow. Congratulations. You finally had your first good night's sleep in years. I am so proud of you for telling Mom that he comes in your room every night. I know she disappointed you by not asking any questions when you made this statement. I know she let you down. I know how angry with her you are. I still don't understand how all of this went over her head, so I cannot explain that part to you. I can tell you it got easier to forgive her I will tell you that eventually you became good friends with that woman and you have a happy, beautiful relationship with her.
It's beautiful. It's so raw and so honest. And wow. When you said that you had an exercise to write, a letter or letters to your younger self, I was thinking of something that I heard, and I have it in my book about being the adult. Now, I mean, my mom, was very, very supportive, but being the adult that you wish you had as a child. And it sounds like you, in writing these letters to Mary Ellen, that you're being that adult, because what you said about the letter to the 5-year-old Mary Ellen about the curiosity, that's something that women feel shameful. I mean, shameful of, everything in surrounding this, because that's what society does to us. But
Mhm.
shameful in, a 5-year-old child is going to have curiosities. And if that's what you lived with, then that's all you know. You don't know any different. Like, you just make this assumption that this is what it's like everywhere in every family. And by telling your 5-year-old self that it was okay to be curious, that's huge. That is huge, because for you to write that to your 5-year-old self, obviously that's something that you have struggled with, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know what? It's okay, and you're okay. And it was a perfectly normal response for a 5-year-old in that situation. And you know what? We don't talk about it. We
Mm.
don't talk about the physiological responses to being molested, to
Mhm.
having our female areas touched, and what the body does on its own. And we're ashamed of that, and we're embarrassed by that, and we think something is wrong with us because of that. Um, I've had people tell me that you can't rape men. And I mean, obviously, besides anally, you certainly can. But again, there is a physiological response, whether your emotional brain is saying no. There is something that your body does that has nothing to do with you, and we don't talk about it. And we think that because we had a response, whether it was a curiosity, whether it was an actual, physiological response, that there's something wrong with us, that we must have enjoyed it. And that's what
Mm.
society wants to make us believe. And they forget the part that, there's a lot more involved in this. Wow, that was such a powerful letter. Um, I'm so proud of you for sharing that, but I'm so proud of you for recognizing that. That's
Thank you
huge.
so much. Thank you so
That's
much.
huge.
I was never
Yeah.
able to I
Jazz hands.
applause, applause, applause. Um, I, I was never able to get to that therapist to finish that assignment, but now I just got it out.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's huge for you. Like, we talk about a lot of the goals, I mean, besides like the financial and education, work stuff, living, like housing and things like that. A lot of your goals were based in spirituality. and or wellness, your spirituality and wellness. And even if you have like some setback because you're not getting, your pay where it's supposed to go right now, to me, talking with you tonight, from the first time we talked when you were just kind of setting these goals, I feel you have grown tremendously spiritually and within your own wellness. And remember, I said, like, you sound so much more confident than when we talked the first time. Wow, what a transformation. You should be very, very proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. You should be very proud of yourself. So never, ever again say, all I have to offer is. Okay? Never say that. Seriously, because what you just offered this evening with that letter to 5-year-old Mary Ellen was huge, tremendous. Do you know how many women would hear that and say, oh my God, I get it. I get it. And I feel the same way, she did. I'm so glad that she said that, because you're right. A 5-year-old is going to be curious. I'm looking at it as an adult now, and, not as a 5-year-old child. So never, ever again say, all I have to offer is.
Thank you.
Promise me? Okay. And you're going to keep writing these letters and you're going to put them together in a book, right?
I could. That sounds good.
I think it's a fabulous idea.
I think we should name it Dear Mary Ellen Rose.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh, we have a comment. I can't see it, Kendall. Can you see it? Mary, what's the comment?
You offer so much. You're an amazing woman. Shout out to Laura, work bestie.
All right. Well, Laura, thank you so much for chiming in. I agree with you 100%. So we are winding down for time, and I was wondering if we can have you back on in October for another update. Boy, I can't even speak anymore. You have me so flabbergasted in a good way, because I am blown away by your honesty and the recognitions that you have made and in your own spiritual and wellness journey. Now, you said that your goals have changed since the last time. So tell me about that a little bit. So I have a starting point for when we talk in October.
Well, I'm working on being just an overall good human to Sis, who is an overall good human. I came home from work today. We had a poopy diaper. First thing I did after I let the dog out to go potty, I don't want to say it because he'll go to the door.
I get it.
That was the first thing I did, was change a poopy diaper. And I am blessed that I am considered responsible enough to do that. Like,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
There it is. No shit, you are doing it.
Yeah, no shit, you're doing it. That is awesome. I love it. I love this headspace that you're in. So tell me, on a bad day and you're not in the headspace you are today, what do you do to bring yourself back up? If your headspace is here, I'm gonna use a therapy. If your headspace is here normally and then it drops down here, how do you get it back here so you're staying in that constant headspace that you want to be in? What do you do to bring it back?
A lot of times I just take a nap.
So you recharge your batteries.
20, 30-minute power nap. And then I can get up and refresh, recenter, refocus, refresh, restart.
Okay.
That's one thing they taught me in the rooms a long time ago was you can restart your day at any time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can restart and reset your goals as well. And you can, work toward a goal and say, you know what, I'm not really into that anymore. And I have this new goal now. And I think
Yeah.
that's where we are. I think that's where we are, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, time is unfortunately out for us this evening. Mary, thank you so much. We will be back in October. And please, everyone, subscribe to the PA Empowerment Network so you can watch our entire series with Mary. And then make sure you come back, obviously, every Monday, but come back in October. Mary, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you for joining us here on Mental Health Mondays. My name is Hope. And we'll see you next week.
It's Mental Health Monday with Hope, a sanctuary where hearts can find solace. Together, we stand strong, united in our journey, discovering the strength within ourselves. Have no fear, for we're not alone.